You never told him? You were supposed to train him. Prepare him. What have you been doing for the last 20 years?
Letting him catch worms, steal apples, skin his knees, find out what makes his heart beat faster.
My sister gave her life to make sure that I got here. To make sure that I put the book in the Seeker's hands, and he's catching worms?
Never knew a great man who didn't have a little dirt under his nails.
And while he's getting his nails dirty, did it ever occur to you to give him the slightest inkling that he is the first true Seeker in the last 1,000 years? He has a destiny.
Who are you to decide a man's destiny?
It's not me, it's the prophecy.
Prophecy be damned! I averted the prophecy when I brought him here. Until you opened up a nice little door in the boundary and said, right this way to the Seeker, ladies and gentlemen.
So it doesn't matter that Darkenrahl is growing more powerful every day. That people in the Midlands are losing their freedom, dying by the thousands.
Stop! What are you talking about? And what's a Seeker?
The Seeker is a hero who arises in a time of trouble and suffering, and seeks out evil and fights it wherever he can.
What does that have to do with me?
If you were so sure you averted the prophecy, that he was gonna live a nice, peaceful life, why did you stay near him all these years? Tell him the truth. Tell him who he is.
First, you need to know about a man named Darkenrahl. If he is a man and not some twisted wraith of evil brought forth from the underworld to shatter the dreams of humankind. 23 years ago, a great prophet spoke on his deathbed of the birth of a true Seeker. A child whose destiny would be to seek out and kill the greatest evil of all, Darkenrahl. His last breath, the prophet named the town in which the child had been born. Rahl sent his assassins. And in one night, they murdered every firstborn son in Brennenden. Save one. By the grace of the spirits, word of the prophecy found its way to me, along with something Darkenrahl didn't have. Your name. Your mother gave birth in the madness of the massacre. She was young. She was weak. The midwife didn't think she'd last the night. She was still alive when I took you from her arms. She kissed you, blessed you.
My mother died when I was 10. Here, in Heartland.
The woman you knew as your mother raised you and loved you as if you were her own, but she did not give birth to you. I crossed the boundary at night unseen, with you in my arms. For weeks, I watched, listened, read the clouds, and came to know that in all the world there was no one kinder than George and Mary Cypher. I told them your story, and they took you into their home and into their hearts. And if I live to be 1,000 years old, I'll never make a wiser choice than picking them for the job.
So, according to this fantasy, who's my real father?
I don't know.
And if you knew my parents so well, why didn't I ever see you with them? Why haven't you talked to me?
I kept myself apart. Close enough to keep watch over you, but far enough away so that if Darkenrahl ever found his way to me, I wouldn't be a blazing arrow pointing the way to you. Apparently, that's what confessors are for.
Confessors?
An ancient order of women, sworn to find the truth, no matter how hard people may try to hide it. And if a seeker should arise, to protect him with her life. My name's Kaylin. I'm sorry for threatening you today. You did save my life. I came here to bring you this.
A book?
Not just any book. It's the Book of Counted Shadows. It was written in a time before remembering. For 1,000 years, it's been kept safe in the Wizard's Keep in Idendril. But a month ago, the armies of Darkenral broke through our last defenses in an attempt to steal it.
Why?
Because the book contains the secrets of power.
And if Darkenral gets it, he will use it to control every corner of the world. And we would all become his slaves. The prophecy says that the Seeker will use the book in his quest to defeat Rahl.
Read it.
Maybe this seeker you're looking for knows this language, but I don't.
Try.
The truth of the words of the Book of Counted Shadows can only be ensured by a confessor. How?
Because you are the true seeker.
It's a good blade you got there. Could use a tool like that. Where'd you get it?
Trader from down south. Led me to believe it was one of a kind, but you know traders.
What is it?
Richard's trail ends here.
How's that possible?
He knows how to mask his trail.
We'll split up. Cover more ground.
Give him the sword. Name him.
What sword?
This is the sword of truth.
In anyone else's hands, this is just a piece of steel. But in the Seeker's hands, bestows the power to fight evil.
And with it, you will kill Darkenral.
I'm not killing anybody. I don't even know either of you. For all I know, this is some kind of trick. I'm not a seeker. I don't want any book or any sword.
Calm down, my boy.
I'm not your boy. My father is George Cypher, and if any of this were true, he'd have told me. Now get out of my way.
Richard, wait!
Let him go.
What?
He needs to find the truth for himself. Until then, he cannot be named.
Your first counselor needs more men on the North Hill. He said I was to tell you to join him there. Tell me where to find your son.